with the F sharp major prelude, we enter the second half of the second book, and we had seen in the first book that Bach used his F minor prelude as a sort of halfway point. Here it's very much a case of this F sharp major prelude being the opening of the second half. That we can see because this prelude has some element of the French overture. I hasten to say that it is not a French overture. It doesn't have the pomposity and the grandeur and all those things, but it has some of the very characteristic dotted rhythm. So now, if one was misguided in trying to categorize this prelude in the definitive genre of the French overture, one might be tempted to do something like, which I think would be completely wrong. One has to understand that Bach actually plays, certainly in his preludes, very much with the different genres and the ambiguity of something being something and yet not quite that thing. We've seen that already. And this is very much a case of something which is a little bit of a French overture, but yet not quite. And in fact, there is a genuine sense of tenderness in this prelude, a kind of light in the atmosphere, which makes me very much want to play it like this. So I try to really create a halo of sound which has some sort of light coming through it. For this, I really make the most possible use out of my grand piano, and my interpretation certainly is suffused with pedal all the way through. A harpsichord player might be tempted to hold some of the notes instead of doing it. But the piano can go further, and on top of holding the notes, you can use the pedal to create a more liquid kind of atmosphere. Now, for some, that might be taking too far the piece out of its historical context. It remains that this is how this piece speaks to me and how I like it. So that's what I'm trying to do with it, really, to infuse it with light, if you want. I see in the interpretation of it one danger that I'd like to mention. Is the piece is made of two elements which run in parallel. One is this dotted rhythm that we can see. And the other thing is the antithesis, an even series of semiquavers. Now, whenever you have, and it does happen a fair bit in Bach, a long sequence of notes of even rhythm, it is tempting, and in fact it is quite hard not to go on autopilot and just let it run and focus on the things that move. So, for example, if I take yes. Well, I might think, okay, the melody, so to speak, is on the left hand. And therefore, focus my attention there. If I forget to listen to my run of semiquaver, they are going to lose some of the life that they need to have and sound like something like... Sorry. So I constantly have to keep an ear onto them so that they sound something like... So that they have life, and when you put the two together... And it's a sort of a skill to not let the focus on one part be detrimental to what you will do to the other part. But this prelude is another favorite of mine, and Book 2 really has a certain collection of absolutely stunning preludes. Some of the fugue are exceptional too, but probably the greatest advance from Book 1 to Book 2 is in some of the preludes. The fugue is, and I will almost contradict what I said when I talked about the prelude, it is a gavotte. At least it's written very strongly in the gavotte style. We know that because, well, a gavotte has this very characteristic upbeat, so... and here you have absolutely, I mean, the upbeat is a trill, but... So that fugue is really strongly a dance. As you may have noticed, I played in a very detached way, which probably on the harpsichord wouldn't work at all. It's simply that I don't imagine the harpsichord when I play that piece. I sort of imagine a woodwind ensemble, and those would absolutely detach in this way. And for me, it is an amusing fugue. Except that, as always, there is a slight ambiguity in Bach, and his counter subject is this that we've seen a few times in the Well-Tempered, but in fact we've seen it with the F minor prelude that was last night. And this usually expresses some melancholy. Here it doesn't seem to succeed in doing that, because the general mood is far too cheeky to let it... And yet it does create a certain emotional ambiguity. But yes, it's a particularly tricky fugue to play. I think it's notorious. And it is full of syncopation, which gives it a lot of life. I mean, if you listen to it, so it's constantly having those syncopated notes which keep propelling the music forward. So yes, a very good and tricky little fugue.